Let's get to John Tamny, president of Parkview Institute. John, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
John, happy Thanksgiving. We were talking a little bit earlier about the debt. It's kind of off the radar screen again. We're now talking about people like me. We got to extend the Obamacare subsidies because, we're petrified about the midterms and we got to give a 2-year extension to fix that. And nobody wants to cut any spending, especially going into another election. Everybody wants to keep spending. The debt keeps going up. What's the answer here, John?
Well, the answer isn't to cut spending. And I say this as someone who thinks government spending is a huge tax on prosperity and freedom. Cutting spending just gives Congress new dollars, fresh money to dream up new programs with. We have a problem of too much revenue. And the problem there is Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, everyone in between, they all are looking for ways to get more money to Washington on the absurd supposition that if Congress has more money to spend, that it will pay off the debt. No, it has all the debt precisely because so much money flows to Washington. Any entity that takes in lots of money can borrow a lot. And so I keep making this lonely case that if we really want to do something about the debt, we have to massively shrink the flow of dollars to the U.S. Capitol. Good luck to me trying to convince anyone, but I'm correct.
You have flipped the argument upside down.
Yes.
Because our argument has always been, hey, we need more revenue. We got to grow, baby, going to grow us out of the debt. Your position is the more we grow, the bigger the economy gets. Washington will just find other things to spend it on.
Absolutely. To be clear, I love growth, but we've seen over the last 45 years, the Reagan tax cuts and Bill Clinton's presidency, which was a continuation of Ronald Reagan's, massive amounts of growth. And so predictably with that, we've seen soaring tax revenues and a soaring ability for our federal government to borrow. So I'm making the point in my book, The Deficit Delusion, everyone should buy several copies of it, that we have two ways to fix this. We can either collapse the economy so that no one wants to lend to us anymore, or we can so substantially reduce the tax burden on the rich because they pay all the taxes such that investors around the world say, we're not going to do this. We can't keep lending to a country that is so intent on undertaxing its people. You'll see the debt go down very quickly. That's the growth way to do it. We can also do it by collapsing the economy.
I mean, collapsing the economy is not a prescription for prosperity, nor is it a way for the Republicans to hold on and win the midterms. So, I mean, I just can't buy into that. I mean, it seems really out of the box and inverted because how does collapsing the economy help the American worker?
It doesn't. And so the other alternative is to say, think how much bigger the U.S. economy could be. Think how much more advanced. Think we would be if we did not overtax the rich so much. The rich, by virtue of being rich, have money to invest. That's how you create companies and you create jobs. There are no companies, no jobs without investment first. So substantially reduce the burden on those most capable of investing. And that will make the world less willing to lend to a country that's taking in reduced tax revenue, but it will make the rest of the world much more willing to invest in the fastest growing country on earth that would make the present growth look Bangladesh by comparison. If we said, we have debt because we overtax the most productive people on earth. Let's reduce that so that they can keep even more of what they earn.
But obviously, if we're going to reduce taxes, then you've got to reduce spending, unless you get to the Laffer curve that says, if you're not at the equilibrium point on the curve, that a cut taxes will actually grow revenue, as we saw under Reagan.
Yeah, well, we've seen revenue grow and we've seen the effects of that. More government spending and more borrowing based on that. So if people want, we can be a prosperous nation with a huge government. But I'm just saying we'd be even more prosperous and more free if we didn't have this massive government. And so how about we reduce the revenues? And if that means government spends less, since when do we as Republicans promote central planning or the central allocation of resources? I thought we were for limited government. It's always amazed me, and I consider Arthur Laffer a very good friend, that our side has promoted this idea. Let us raise your taxes by lowering them. What's good about that? What's good about putting more money in the hands of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and name your Republicans? I don't trust either side.
What's interesting about this conversation is what you're promoting is never going to happen politically ever. And good idea, but not practical, because nobody's ever going to do that ever. So, it's kind of like term limits, right? They're not going to vote themselves. The only way you're going to get term limits is if you made it starting in like 2090, then maybe somebody would vote for it. But they're certainly not going to vote themselves out of their, $190,000 jobs that turn into 10 million with stock trades and whatever else is going on and there, John. But the bottom line is, with the deficit delusion, is everything is about growing the economy. That's what we're promoting here, whether it be through manufacturing coming back to the United States or whatever. We want jobs, growth. We want people working, means they pay taxes, and you want to shrink that. I just don't see where there would be ever any political appetite for that.
I think you're 100% correct. I couldn't agree more. I think you're right about term limits, and I think you're right here, which is why I'm writing what I'm writing. I don't think suddenly someone's going to read my book in Washington and say, oh, hey, Tamny's got the right idea. But what I do think is that politicians respond to what voters believe. And so that's why I appreciate you having me on. I think if we keep having a conversation like this around the United States, it will become conventional wisdom that, oh, yeah, we have the debt because we take in too much tax revenue. And it's my way of saying, let's get the conversation started with the distant future in mind, that maybe gradually people will say, this is stupid, because he predicted in the book that debt was going to go up, that tax revenues is going to go up. So maybe we should think about this differently. If we do, maybe politicians, maybe an opportunistic politician will say, I'm going to run on this. Think of the prosperity I could bring if we went in this direction. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. I agree.
But listen, I agree with you in looking at an alternative solution, because, and I fall into the same trap. I was thinking about it while you were saying it, right? So let's get to just the past two cycles, right? Let's not do anything to hurt Trump in 2024. We have to win this election. It's the most important election in history. If we don't win, we're going to turn into a communist nation. Everybody's going to jail, right? Trump wins. Turn around after 1 year. Now what am I saying? 2026, the most important election in history. If Trump doesn't win the midterms, if he doesn't keep Congress, they'll impeach him on the third day. Everything will stop. They'll start indicting everybody. Everybody's at risk. We got to get out. We got to win these midterms. Most important election ever since 24, which was since 22. I mean, it just goes on. And so because of these 24-month cycles, there's never an appetite to cut anything. I mean, we're right now, this is reality, right? And I'm like, MAGA Media Inc. We're sitting here and we're saying, people like me are advocating the continuation of the Obamacare tax subsidies with income cap limits and with either a $5 enrollment fee or re-enrollment fees to clear the fraud off the rolls. And here we are advocating. I'm advocating it because I don't want policies to go up and for that to crush us in the midterms. So I'm willing to extend this thing for a 2-year period, spend more money on it in order to do that. And then the same thing is going to happen in 2028. So even for people like me, I have to be honest, it never ends. That's the problem.
It is a problem, and I don't think it's lost.
Am I making sense at all?
Of course you're making sense. This is what Ronald Reagan ran into. He had this vision of shrinking government, but then he found out that every single program in government has both a Republican and a Democrat behind it. And so there's no shrinking it. And so again, I'm merely making the point. I want to have a conversation. I want truth to intrude on what's laughable. What's laughable is this ongoing assertion from our side that, oh yeah, we can grow our way out of the debt. Nonsense. It's not happening. And so from this, I think we can have more expansive discussions that If you want to have Doge, oh, please. Even if you get it, you want to give Congress $2 trillion in fresh powder to dream up new ideas. Hey, guess what? Medicare began as a $3 billion program. Look at it today. And so I'm merely saying, to save you from what you're trying to avoid, is let's allow Social Security, let's allow Medicare to consume more of the budget. Let's allow interest payments to consume more of the budget. And the reason I want that is so that we can avoid these other little programs that grow and grow a little bit by little. And then suddenly we say, well, we can't cut them because the politics of it don't work. So look, I'm on your side. I get your point, but let's have some truth here too. And I know you agree.
John, the truth will set you free. No question about that. That's my thing. John, people want to buy your out of the box book. Let's call it that. Where do they go?
They go to Amazon. They can buy unlimited copies, buy them for friends, relatives, people they dislike. A new discussion is needed. Thank you very much.
Buy them for people you don't like. We were going to give you coal in your stocking, but instead we gave you John Tamny's book, The Deficit Delusion.
We give you this.
Well, as long as you buy it, we're good, right? John, thanks for being with us. We'll be right back.